You know, there was a time when fantasy films were not safe at all. Before everything was sanitized, CG smoothed, and merchandised for all ages, sword and sorcery movies, Sword and Sandal, they were violent, sexual, sweaty, brutal, and unapologetically adult. These movies weren't about destiny and chosen ones. They were about survival, revenge, power, flesh, steel, blood, and magic. Some of them were classics, and some of them were trashy masterpieces, but some were straight up exploitation films with swords. All of them reminded us that fantasy used to have teeth. So today, we are going to count down 15 R-rated, ultra-violent, and adult sword and sorcery movies that will blow your mind. So pop that tape in. I got you. Let's go do this. Alright, so 15 sword and sorcery, sword and sandal movies. I love this. I used to teach ancient history. I'm a filmmaker. This is like all the good stuff put together for me. So we're going to jump right into the list at number 15 with 1982's Sorceress. This one is pure exploitation fantasy. And it knows it. That's the best part. You've got twin sisters, dark magic, sleazy villains, and non-stop nudity wrapped in a sword and sandals plot that just barely manages to hold itself together, and it really doesn't need to because you have all that other stuff. Sorceress exists to prove that early 80s fantasy was often one small step away from grindhouse, and honestly, that was part of the charm. I love these movies. I watched them with my dad and brother. They were cheap, ridiculous, aggressively adult, and absolutely not pretending to be classy. That's exactly what you get with Sorceress. Now at number 14, we get one that at last check was still stuck on VHS, and that's 1987's Warrior Queen. This one actually blends some historical exploitation with the sword and sorcery energy. It's very brutal. This one is brutal. It's nasty. It leans very hard into the revenge fantasy with violence and sexuality used to make a point in the film. And it's not a subtle point, but it is very effective. Warrior Queen almost feels mean in a way that modern fantasy films never would. They avoid that completely, but it's that raw edge that makes this one stand out just a little bit. I would love to see it get picked up, restored on 4K. Warrior Queen comes in at number 14. Now at number 13, I've got one that might surprise you a little. This one might be a little outside the box. It's 1986's Highlander. Yes, it's stylish. Yes, it's much more mainstream, but Highlander earns a spot here because it treats immortality as violent and tragic and not really romantic, and it really leans into that. You've got decapitations. You've got some serious erotic energy in this one. Operatic, over the top, like crazy violence, and Queen blasting at full volume in this one. This movie made fantasy feel cool, dangerous, and definitely adult. There can only be one, and there was never another one quite like this one. Highlander comes in at 13. Now at number 12, I've got one that a lot of horror fans might not realize one of their favorite legendary gorehound directors actually brought to them in the sword and sorcery genre. It's 1983's Conquest. This is Lucio Fulci doing sword and sorcery, and it's exactly as unhinged as you would expect all of that to be. Conquest is soaked in fog, blood, slime, nightmare logic, all kinds of monsters, creatures, glowing bow and arrows. The plot barely matters, but that's kind of an ongoing theme with Lucio Fulci. So it's all about the vibes, and I'm all about some vibes here if you follow me. And it's also all about the violence and the surreal, dreamlike, over-the-top brutality, lots of nudity, exploitation, and again, the cool bow and arrow. The movie feels like a fantasy made by someone who hates clean storytelling, but that's just sort of Fulci's thing. It makes it somewhat hypnotic, and then you got the nudity, and I'm telling you, check this one out. This one is like nothing else you're going to see in this genre. Conquest comes in at number 12. Now, when we are talking cool weapons, we have to talk about this next film. It's 1982's The Sword and the Sorcerer. Triple-bladed sword. Flying blades that come off of it. Over-the-top violence. This thing is pure drive-in fantasy entertainment, and I am here for it. Beautiful 4Ks. It's silly, aggressive, endlessly rewatchable. The kind of movie where the spectacle of it always wins over the logic. Toss the logic out the window. Who cares? If Conan is sort of the mythic warrior and it's like this serious grounded myth, then Sword and Sorcerer is pure pulp entertainment, and it looks great in a 4K restoration. You got to check this one out. It had to be on this list. It comes in at number 11. Now for the next one at number 10, we go to 1985 for one that was done by one of my favorite directors of all time. It is Flesh Plus Blood by Paul Verhoeven. This is sword and sorcery without romance at all. It's Paul Verhoeven. He's known for his satire, and I love it. And, he can get a little naughty with some of his stuff too. Check Basic Instinct. And this one strips the fantasy down to mud, disease, lust, cruelty, and absolute chaos. The heroes in this movie are even awful. The villains are worse. Everyone is completely morally compromised. Flesh Plus Blood feels dangerous because it really doesn't want you to escape this world or whatever. It wants you to survive and live in it and just kind of suffer through it in a realistic way. Very, very Paul Verhoeven. Flesh Plus Blood comes in at number 10. Now at number 9, we have one that's just pure fun and ridiculous. It's 1983's Deathstalker, and I have the combo pack, so just wait for a second. Let's not pretend that Deathstalker is classy at all. Deathstalker is exploitation fantasy at its most shameless. Violence, nudity, cartoon villains, loincloths, sweaty people, scantily clad, dumb heroics, but it understands that mission and it executes it flawlessly, delivering cheap thrills and absolutely succeeds at every turn in doing all of that. This is VHS era fantasy junk food. I was raised on it and I'm still here enjoying it today. It comes in at number 9. Now at number 8, one good Deathstalker deserves another, so we head to 1987 for Deathstalker Part 2. And as you can see, I have this new 4K double pack release from Scream Factory. High recommend. It makes this look better than it has any right to. This one is somehow smarter, funnier, and more self-aware, and maybe has even more nudity and shameless exploitation than the first. Deathstalker 2 definitely leans more into the comedy without losing the sleaze, and it turns the genre into a wink and a nod sort of good time. It takes itself way less seriously. It's goofy, sexy, endlessly entertaining. Both of these, you cannot go wrong. It had to be on the list. It comes in at number 8. Now at number 7, we go to 1981 for Excalibur. This one is big and mythic, sort of grandiose, and kind of an erotic fantasy too. Excalibur treats legend like a religion, so to speak. And this one's one I'm very excited. There's a 4K restoration by Arrow Video coming out very soon, and you're going to see this movie in all its glory, drenched in blood, sweat, sex, and steel. The armor gleaming like gods are watching it, like it's been polished up. violence feels very almost ritualistic in this movie, and the sex feels dangerous. It all just kind of works together. It's fantasy as mythology, but 100% for adults. I promise you. Excalibur comes in at number 7. That didn't stop us from watching it long before we probably should have. Now at number 6, we go to 1985 for Red Sonja. And this one is often dismissed, even by me, I admit, sometimes unfairly, because I know the backstory behind it. They changed Conan the Excalibur, all this stuff. Arnold wasn't supposed to be in the movie that long. There was a lot of things that was going on here. But at its heart, Red Sonja is very pulpy. It's colorful. It's sort of dripping with that sort of comic book energy, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, yes, it's campy, yes, it's kind of silly, but it's also one of the last big fantasy films that still kind of felt very physical and dangerous, a lot more on location, even though not like Conan or anything like that, but it was still all there. It still had it all. And of course, you had beautiful Brigitte Wilson in this, a 6-foot tall redhead, supplying all the sexual energy that you needed in here. Red Sonja comes in at number 6. Now at number 5, we check in with 1987's The Barbarians. Twin bodybuilders and zero subtlety in this one. Maximum absurdity, and my brother and I loved it. I mean, not only did you have the sword and sorcery, sword and sandal, you had these two big bodybuilders, and we wanted to be that, and they're out there kicking butt. This movie is basically Conan through a Saturday morning cartoon lens, and it is glorious. Absolutely. The Barbarians is dumb, it's violent, it's loud, it's ridiculous, and all of it works. I promise you it does. The Barbarians is just a good time, has everything you want on this list. It checks in at number 5. Now at number 4, we have what might be the most underrated film on this list as a legitimate film. It's 1983's Hundra. This is another one I would love to see get restored to get the respect that it needs and put it on 4K Ultra HD, because Hundra flips the genre by focusing on a woman navigating a brutal world without softening it. They take this actress, the lead actress in this film, and she does all of her own stunts. She's got the physicality there, and she fights men, but it's believable. It's not in a Mary Sue kind of way. It's not in anything like that. It's not that she's immediately great. It's just something it's assumed she has to do. She can get her butt kicked. She can win some. And she's not manly or girl bossy. She's a beautiful woman on top of it. She's just a woman who fights when she has to fight. And there's something so cool about that. It's violent. It's very serious. It's sexual. It's kind of bleak. I mean, she's trying to continue her bloodline. So she's, you're going to get some sexual things there. It's fantasy that doesn't flinch. You have a beautiful woman who's 100% woman who can just fight when she has to fight. And I think it's super cool. An underrated movie. Hundra comes in at number 4. Now at number 3, we are bending this list just a little bit with 1984's Conan the Destroyer. Yes, technically PG-13, though let's be honest, this movie is way more risque than the rating suggests, especially with Olivia Diabo in here at her age and what she's wearing and all these kind of things. It's kind of crazy in this movie. The costuming, the tone, the danger, it still carries a lot of an adult energy. It just kind of plays more into the magic side of this thing, especially through the supporting characters. I mean, you have some serious characters in this film. That is an understatement. It's definitely lighter than the original, but it's still unsustainably part of the savage fantasy sword and sorcery, sword and sandal, sort of epic barbarian, heroic, barbarian kind of thing. Conan the Destroyer. Look, it's Arnold in the end. At the end of the day, you gotta have it. It comes in at number 3. Now, at number 2, we might have one that surprises you just a little bit. And this is one of my favorite, forgotten films that people don't think of, that people kind of poo-poo. It's 2004's Troy. Now, I taught ancient Greek and Roman mythology and history. I love this story. This is a big budget film. It's hard R violence, plenty of sexuality, zero fantasy creatures, just men killing other men for glory, out there in their sandals, taking women as trophies. Troy feels like that sort of last gasp of serious adult epic cinema before things started to really change, and we've gotten to this weird last 15 years or so. But this was a time when heroes actually still bled. They still died. They weren't protected by IP plot armor, It was brutal, beautiful, tragic. I really dig this movie. My friend Tyler Main got to play King Ajax in here. Row, you whores, Greeks are dying. I used to mess with him saying that all the time. One of my favorite lines of his in the movie. Troy, very, very underrated. I dig it. It comes in at number 2. Now, at number 1, we're cheating because we have 1A and then we have number 1. And at 1A is 1982's The Beastmaster. Listen, this movie feels, you might remember this movie as family friendly, and it might feel that way because of so many TV airings, especially on TBS, if you had TBS back in the 80s and 90s, or TNT or later HBO. But the uncut version of this movie absolutely isn't family friendly in any way. Real nudity, complete real nudity in this, savage violence, dark rituals, rip-torn, throwing people into fires, crazy monster demons with things in their heads, other, eagle creatures that eat people down to their bones that would give you nightmares. The Beastmaster is sort of a gateway drug into adult fantasy, and the full cut reminds you exactly what era this movie came from. Don Coscarelli of Phantasm fame with his crazy dream logic in here. You've got Dar talking to animals. This thing is legit in all the right ways. Hey Bubba, Beastmaster is on. This was a big film between me and my dad. It was on so much, and that's why it kind of gets that feeling that, it's not really a hard R. It's definitely an adult film. The Beastmaster comes in at 1A. And at number 1, there can only be one, and I'm not talking about Highlander. I'm talking about 1982's Conan the Barbarian. One of the 100 greatest movies ever made, I believe. We're going to find out when I launch my 100 greatest movies ever made list coming here very soon. But as far as sword and sorcery, sword and sandal goes, Conan the Barbarian is the gold standard. Conan treats fantasy like ancient myth that is real. You got John Milius back there, and he really was into all of it. He researched everything, so it's very violent, very sexual, tragic, and just sort of eternal and mythic. It's not necessarily about good versus evil. It's about strength, loss, revenge, survival, and becoming legend. Everything else on this list exists because Conan proved fantasy could be adult cinema. This paved the way. Beautiful, epic cinematography. Everything about this film puts it at number 1 on this list. Conan the Barbarian comes in at number 1. So there you go. These movies remind us that fantasy used to be a little dangerous and a little dirty. No safety nets, no franchise planning, no IP plot armor, no four-quadrant softening, no CGI edges smoothed out, just steel, blood, desire, and epic myths that morphed men and women into iconic legends. If you miss that era and you enjoy movies like that and all of those vibes, then welcome home here at AV Pop Culture. I am glad to have you. And that's what I got for you this time. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. And if you really want to help support the channel, you can join my Patreon. It helps even more, and you'll get your name in lights on every single video, behind the scenes looks at my filmmaking, special members only videos, physical media reviews, deep dives, all of that stuff, and everything goes right back into the channel to help it out, and I really do appreciate it. But until next time, be kind, rewind like always. This is Chase with AV Pop Culture, and I'll see you real soon. Bye-bye. I know.